With us tonight is Democratic candidate for Indiana Lieutenant Governor Terry Goodin. Terry, thank you for coming in this evening. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, Tara.
Now, you are a farmer. You're a former U.S. District 66 representative.
Yes,
you're a former school superintendent. How can you use all of those experiences to help lead Indiana?
Well, that's exactly what we're going to do, Terry, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to use all those experiences to be able to help lead Indiana. And as we know, the lieutenant governor's position, number one, they preside over the state senate.
Right.
Number two, not necessarily in these order, they're the secretary of agriculture. And number three, with tourism, and they're head of the tourism department, also rural economic development. So as I work through that job list, and they compare that job list with my resume, the match is really well. The fit is almost perfect. So farm, I grew up on a farm. I raise beef cattle now, and also as a public school superintendent. And that gave me the opportunity to reach a lot of individuals and communities and let folks know that we care about their students and we move forward. And also with the presiding over the Senate, my 20 years in the House of Representatives and a stint of that being the minority leader gives me the experience to be able to go into the state Senate on day one, conduct business and move forward. Also, just the simple fact of my experience at the State House has also brought, I've got a lot of friends there still. And so that's going to allow me to work across the aisle, which is what the aisle, that's exactly what I did while I was a state representative.
At this time, there are many people who are still undecided. They don't know who to vote for. Why should they cast their ballot for you in McCormick?
Well, let's take a look back. For the last 20 years, we've had one party control, one party rule over the state of Indiana. And what's happened now, Terry, is that's put Indiana at a very unique disadvantage. And when I say that, it's been crisis after crisis has been created by the policies of one party rule. We've had a housing crisis and have a housing crisis in the state of Indiana. We've had a health care crisis. We've still got a health care crisis in the state of Indiana. We've got an educational crisis in the state of Indiana where Fort Wayne Community Schools alone lose $40 million. $40 million comes out of Fort Wayne Community Schools and goes to vouchers in another county or other counties. So as we move forward there, and specifically we've had a terrible crisis with property taxes. So we've got solutions to fix all of these problems as we move forward. So that's the whole reason. That's our push. And I'll tell you this right now, we want an Indiana that continues to move forward, right? And just a little public service announcement here. We put our clock backs Saturday night. We'll wake up Sunday morning an hour later, right? Well, we got to make sure that when we go vote for Jennifer McCormick and Terry Goodin, so when we wake up Tuesday or Wednesday after Election Day, we don't have to push those clocks back 50 years. So as we move forward, we want to make sure we keep our eyes on the future because Jennifer McCormick and Terry Goodin believe that Indiana's better days are ahead of her.
So let's touch on that a little bit more. We haven't had a Democratic governor since Joe Kernan, early 2000s. How can you in McCormick flip the state from red to blue? Specifically, how?
Well, specifically, here's how. As we travel around, there's a lot of excitement, and folks are just ready for a change. And as we move forward, that change, as it comes about, they're looking at Jennifer McCormick and Terry Goodin because that's what we offer. We offer change. We offer change for the positive as we move forward. Hey, take a look at the prices in the grocery store, right? The state government of Indiana for the last year and a half, almost to the last decade, has absolutely done nothing to try to help Hoosier consumers. So we're going to sit down and we're going to take a look at how do we help Hoosier consumers. I mean, there's probably not anyone in the state of Indiana that hasn't had a utility increase in the last couple of years. So all that is dictated by the IURC and the state of Indiana and those services. So we're going to make sure we sit down. And the most important part of what we want to do, Terry, is this. Anyone who's going to be impacted by a decision needs to have say and input in that decision as it's being made. So we're going to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table, and we say this, every single Hoosier in the state of Indiana will be treated with dignity and respect and will be listened to and heard.
Okay, so hypothetical, you and McCormick win.
Absolutely. That's not a hypothetical, Tara. That's reality, right?
After you're sworn in, what will be some of the first things that you all do in the state?
So what we're going to do right off the bat, we're going to take a look at state government and see if it's operating efficiently, which we know it's not. See if it's operating effectively, and we know it's not. So we're going to sit down with the leaders in the House and leaders in the Senate and other state leaders, and we're going to say, listen, how can we move Indiana forward? Here's our vision. We've got our vision together. You've seen that. We've been espousing that across the state of Indiana. We've been in all 92 counties now. So we've been pushing that mantra out the window, and we've been letting folks know what that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit down with those leaders and say, okay, here's how we move Indiana forward. And we want everybody to be a part of this as we move forward. So what we're going to do is make sure, as we said before, everyone has a seat at the table, and more heads are better than one, right? If we've got a problem or a situation that needs to be worked out, which there's a lot of those in Indiana now, we're going to make sure that we have a lot of folks at the table trying to make those decisions instead of just one or two people in a back room saying, here's the way it's going to be done. We want to know how it's got to be done. So.
Terry Goodin, thank you for coming in this evening, and good luck.
Thank you very much, Tara. Great to be here, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.